Rotary, that spells Rotary.
My dad was a Rotary member. My uncle was a Rotary member, and my grandfather was a Rotary member for 40 plus years. He was also a district governor out of LaGrange. He was president of LaGrange College for 30 years, and a big influence in my early childhood, no doubt about that. I am married to Krista Henry, of which some of you have met. She was a guest speaker for us a year ago, and she sits on the teacher at Thompson, sits on the PAGE board out of Atlanta, the teachers representation group. And between the two of us, we are in our second marriage. We have been married for 10 years. In fact, our anniversary is 2 weekends from now. So I'll be missing that meeting, actually 3 weekends from now, on the 11th. I'm missing that meeting. And we have 4 children. I have 2 boys. They're 22 and 20. One of them is in the HVAC business. Another one is a junior at USC 8. And her children, Georgia Kate, she is a beautiful young lady. She is a senior at Georgia. She's going to graduate with a degree in English, and she does not know what she wants to do. I wish there was an attorney in our chapter, because she wants to go into law, and it would be someone that she could speak to. I'm not sure if we have any attorneys in this particular chapter. And her son, Daxton, D-A-X-T-O-N, he is a freshman at Georgia Southern, and we're not sure which direction he's going to go yet, probably business. Anyway, about Total Comfort Solutions, we are a 6-location company, 4 locations in South Carolina. We have one in Greenville, one in Charleston, one in Columbia, and then we split Florence and Myrtle Beach out of one Geo Center. We have a location in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is brand new, and I am responsible for the one here in Augusta. Ideal clients for us, we are a commercial and industrial HVAC provider only. We do not do residential work. Ideal clients for us, we service some restaurants, we service hotels, we service a lot of commercial facilities. This is one of our clients here, Goodwill is. We service the big commercial buildings next to DoubleTree Hotel. We service the big, beautiful Mayvon building in downtown Evans. So those type of commercial buildings. Augusta University Health Center is one of our best clients. We also service MTUT, Seoul, Hubble, Kellogg's, which is now known as Ferrera. By the way, their deluxe chocolate chips are fantastic. We have watched them put new ingredients in those cookies, and they have really made some changes over there. Anyway, so that's been a fantastic client for us as well. We service a lot of industrial clients, commercial clients, and those are ideal clients for us. Our revenue at Total Comfort Solutions really is put into 2 buckets. We have a preventative maintenance bucket on the service side, and we have a project bucket. So on the preventative maintenance side, we would visit your facility on a quarterly basis and make sure that your HVAC equipment is running as it should. Same way you would maintain the engine in your automobile. So we do anything from annual core cleanings to checking the drain pans and lines, cleaning the blower motors, the blower wheels, the assemblies, the whole bit. We do a quality PM program. It's all electronically driven. We get electronic signatures. We check in when we get there. We check in when we leave. It's a really good preventative maintenance program that extends the life of your equipment, reduces capital expenditures and all that kind of stuff. And that's our preventative maintenance program. We also have a project program as well. So that would be, if this building, for example, needed to replace a simple rooftop unit, we can do that. If they gutted out this entire thing and wanted to repurpose it, we could have that fully engineered and do all the work ourselves. We get heavily involved with centrifugal chillers, whether we're going to rebuild them, or we're going to install a new one or build a simple energy plant. We can do all that as well. Provide all the engineering, the whole 9 yards, all the technical help, you name it. So that's the 2 main buckets. One thing about Total Comfort that's interesting, the way we look at is the HVAC industry as a whole. There's a big conflict there. They make their money when your equipment fails, right? That's when the HVAC business makes their money. They have you where they want you. You make money when it fails. It's the way we go about our business is we make our money when we're not getting a phone call from you. We do not want to hear from you. We do not want you to place a service call with us. So we have all-inclusive programs on our maintenance agreements that include all the mechanical items that are included in your contract. So when we see something that's worn or doubtful, when we test a compressor and we see that it's going to fail sometime in the near future, or a motor, we see it's going to fail based on the windings in the future, we go ahead and replace those on our dime at an opportune time when it benefits all of us, and not breaks down at a very inopportune time. So our contracts are all inclusive. It really is very seamless for the client. We're in the HVAC business. We're not, and that is what we do. Anyway, we have gone from about 8 folks when I started here 7 years ago. We have 25 now in our office. We've done very well. We're looking forward to 2021. There's no way it's going to be a bad year. It will be impossible for us to have a bad year. We have so many great things going on. We're looking forward to 2021. We're looking forward to getting 2020 behind us. And I guess the last thing regarding Total Comfort is we like to call ourselves building performance contractors. And that really, our purpose is to make sure that your building is running as efficiently as it possibly can. What that means is low service calls. That means extending the life of your equipment. That means you're getting the maximum amount of efficiency out of that unit that you can, which is going to be a reduction in your operating costs, a reduction in your energy consumption. It's going to be a reduction in your runtime for your centrifugal chillers on a process plant, etc. So we'd like to call ourselves building performance specialists, and that's what that means. And that is me. That is Total Comfort Solutions in a nutshell. Any questions?
I might have missed the first part because I was fiddling around with things. How did you get into the business?
I was recruited. I used to be with Fastenal. I was there for 20 years. I was recruited by an ex-employee at Fastenal that had some connections with folks at Total Comfort that just knocked on my door. At the time, it was very appealing because there was no travel involved, and I had the kids where I was tired of traveling for 20 years at Fastenal. At least 17 of those years, I was traveling, gone about 3 nights a week. So it was one change. And it's turned out to be fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. Good question. Anything else? All right, who's next?
I want to thank Vance Henry for the classification. Next, we'll have Ashley Campbell, who will be coming up and speaking next.
In my past profession, would you know that I'm nervous right now? I'm actually a very shy person. I grew up here in Columbia County in Martinez. My mother, she was born and raised in New Orleans. My father, he was born and raised in Philadelphia. And my grandfather was in the Navy, so his parents got shipped over to New Orleans, and my parents met at high school. And my mom would always give him little silly notes, and he finally asked her out for a date. He's like, "What is this Mardi Gras thing?" She's like, "Oh, I'll show you." So, so they dated all through high school and throughout college, and he eventually got a job with Georgia Power, and so that brought us here, eventually to the Augusta area. I have a sister. She's about 8 years older than me. I have 2 nieces and a nephew. He runs an electrical business with my brother-in-law. My husband has been with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office for about 10 years now. He's a sergeant at the Justice Center in Columbia County. He just got his master's in cybersecurity. And so he's got about 26 applications waiting, being passed on to a manager with the FBI. So that's where he's heading. I don't even know how I fumbled into news. I was going to be in public relations, and I took a class at Augusta State University after graduating from Greenbrier and Dine, and I just fell in love with it. Writing for television. I thought it was sharp. It's, taking bigger stories and figuring out what's the most important and shrinking it down to 1 minute and 27 seconds when I used to write for a magazine where you had 5 pages. So it was a lot of growing pains, but I was at NBC 26 when it was down on Broad Street. So I started that in 2007 as an associate producer. And I knew I wanted to be a reporter because I always wanted to help people. I wanted to give people a voice who normally would never get a chance to get on TV or they're wronged in some way. And if I could help them and bring something to, you know, the audience's attention where they could possibly get help, then that would make my day. And I know that I had a good work day. I minored in theater, so I've gotten to travel all throughout Europe and Greece and perform, which is amazing. Greece especially, that was just amazing to me. Quite the coincidence that one year when we were performing Oedipus Rex in Thessaloniki, Greece, we were going on right after James Brown. So I was like, okay, well that's interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry?
James Brown was your headliner?
Well, he performed the night before we did.
Okay.
So, you know, we got to go and see him, and he invited us to his concert. And you would think that every Greek person there knew all of his songs. He was just a god to them. A god in Greece. So no pun intended. But anyway, so back here in Augusta, I started off with the Metro Spirit as a contributor, and they had a partnership with NBC, and I would go on twice a week on the CW News at 10 and tell people the exciting things going on. And in the meantime, I had my own camera, so I would go out and do my own stories.
Linda, this is Bud Kolke again. I looked at Mike's account, and it does have a POA, but it's not you. I guess it's James. Does that sound right?
Bud, you need to mute yourself.
When I get hired, I know all of Columbia County and stuff from then on. I've been the Columbia County reporter ever since. Left Channel 26 when the merger happened between Channel 26 and Channel 12. They bought out the company that owns 26 and got rid of most of the people. I think Barkley Bishop and I were the only ones who survived over it, and they brought us over to Channel 6. I was so lucky for that, and I became a good reporter. So, amazing stories, some stories that I will never forget. It's launched me some of the stories to be on several investigative discovery channels and Dateline, and and between all that, I ended up being pregnant. And, I think she changed my life. And with the crazy hours of news, I had to think about what was more important. I was missing out on so many firsts with McKenna. My husband said that I was never happy when I would come home from work, and I was always thinking about the next day. There was never any downtime. And finally one day I was like, you know what? There's somebody behind me that's going to come and take my place. And I just said, family, if I don't think about what's important right now, then I'm never good. I either get out now or I don't. So that led me to Columbia County Community Connections as doing public relations for the nonprofit. I know you guys are very familiar with Columbia County Community Connections. And so I was there for about a year, but there were some major cuts coming from the state. And most nonprofits don't have that size, don't have a PR person for them. So I expected that I would have to probably take a major pay cut, which I couldn't do. And so I just started looking around for something else in the public relations field. And I happened to call up Mayor Gary Jones because I had known him from being in news for so long that he'd become a friend. And he said, well, funny you should call me because the council and I were talking about we need a public information officer. There's no way that we're growing so fast and we need a certain hub. We need to create like a help desk. And we need to disperse and get out all this information. And we don't have time to talk to the media. If I'm in Waynesboro, he goes, would you be interested? And I said, absolutely. So I've been there a year and a few months, and it feels like time's just flown by. I've got to reconnect with you guys after a short hiatus, which I was absolutely excited about. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm still able to help people, by doing the van drives that we do. We have a teddy bear giveaway that we're going to be doing, following the safety guidelines, and the Family Life found out, and they said, well, hey, we want to give away 500 bags of food to these families, because it's not just a teddy bear that the children need, the families need food more than ever, because a lot of lot of them are out of work, and food prices have gone up. And so I said, let's do it, let's get on it. So, we'll have a later date about that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, or I kind of zoomed by because I know there's somebody behind me who's coming up to speak. I will say I met my husband in court. I wasn't there for trouble. I was covering a case in judicial court, and he was new on the job. And I remember Judge Flanagan, who I miss dearly every single day. He was a major, and I think he made a major influence on the juvenile justice system. Unfortunately, he passed away. He married us, and we met in his courtroom. I think it's such a sweet story, and we have so many pictures and memories of him. But yeah, I remember him was got in trouble and got written up for talking to me while the court was going on. But he made it. So, anything would you like to add? I mentioned my daughter. We found out about a year ago that she has been diagnosed with autism. It's mild to moderate, so she's going to do great, just with a little bit of speech therapy, a little bit of OT therapy. But when you get something like that and you just don't know, you go through this grieving process. So there were some times that just weren't so good, but now you get through it, and I think we're in the best position that we ever could be in. And you find out just how close of a family, and relationship we have with one another. And so I try to carry that on to other people who I may see that are struggling now, and try to be an advocate.
I want to thank Ashley for that wonderful consultation. And next we have Bill Bambrick, who will be coming up and talk. He's our last consultation speaker for today. Thank you.
Well, I didn't know I was going to be the speaker until just a few minutes ago, so I didn't have enough time to get my ducks in a row. But I'm a native of Guston, and I've been a member of this club since we used to meet down at the old Ramada Inn on Washington Road, which was down between Reinhardt's and I-20. It's been long since torn down. I'm past president of the club back in 1987, 88. And when I was president of the club, in those days, Rotary was all money. And that was the year that they started bringing ladies into the Rotary. So it was kind of a unique situation, needless to say. I graduated from Texas A&M. I have a degree in ornamental horticulture. I managed Green Thumb West on Davis Road from the day it opened for 25 years. I then, in 2001, started my own company, Wally Bay Landscape, and I did that until about 4 years ago. I had my right knee replaced, so I can't walk around on job sites anymore. And that's kind of, what I had done through the years. And, we, of course, the clubs met down, like I said, at Ramada. We met over at First Baptist Church. We started meeting here. So, and I just wish we had more people that could be here with this virus situation. Of course, I've been married to Debbie for 47 years. We've got 3 children, 4 grandchildren. Fortunately, they all live here in Augusta, so we're blessed in that respect. We don't have to travel the country to go visit. I don't know. That's about all I can come up with.
How about your Arbor Day adventures?
Oh, yeah. Lord, yeah. Well, we used to sponsor Arbor Day, and the very first time we did it, we actually planted trees at one of the schools out in Columbia County, and we used to get pine tree seedlings, and we got enough seasons as the program progressed, that we gave every kid in the elementary school a pine tree season appointment. So I don't know how many of them are growing in the county now.
A bunch.
But a bunch of them are out there. Any other questions you think of?
You talk about the picnics, park picnics.
Oh, yeah, we did, we planted trees out there as a memorial, Patriot Park years ago. And I assume they're still there, I haven't been out there in a long time. But they were oak trees, so they should be there for 150, 200 years, I hope. Well, anybody else? Well, I'm sorry, I had more improved speech, but I had a little more time.
You ran out of time, Joe.
Then we want to thank you. I know you were filming at the last minute, but once again, thank you for that, and thank all the other Rotarians speaking today, Vance and Ashley as well. With that being said, we did finish up on time, so we didn't run over. And you can let Greg know that we didn't run over this time, as I would normally do. Well, thank you all for coming out. Our next meeting will be on the 4th of December. We do have a guest speaker. The guest speaker will be author Nita Wiggins on December the 4th to be the speaker. She's a native Augustan and an author, and she'll be talking about some wonderful subjects. We expect all of you to be here. Then also, don't forget, we have a card for Judy Becker. Judy signed before you leave here. Once again, thank you all for coming out. Continue to be safe. Do wash your hands. We'll see you on our next meeting. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Here we go.